which is LinkedIn. Today, you will be doing your LinkedIn profiles. And I thought it was important for us to spend a little bit of time on that. Some of us already have LinkedIn accounts, which is great, but I don't know how much you actually utilize LinkedIn. So I wanted to talk a little bit about LinkedIn, talk about how critical it is, but then I'm also going to show you a video that's going to walk you through how to set up LinkedIn. Even if you have it, there may be some sections that the video talks about that you may not have known about, and maybe you want to go back and edit yours. And then at the end, I'm going to show you how to copy and paste that URL that I'll need for your assignment. So let's go ahead and get right into it. When we talk about LinkedIn, you may or may not know that LinkedIn is the world's largest professional network internet. Most of us may have, gathered that by now, right? You can use it for a lot of different things, right? From jobs to internships, connecting with people, networking. But a lot of people don't know that you can actually learn a lot of skills on there now. There's paid classes you can take, there are free classes you can take. There are universities that offer classes on LinkedIn. Like, there's so much that you can do with LinkedIn, right? So a complete LinkedIn profile, it helps you to connect to opportunities that you may not otherwise have been able to connect to, right? You can also use it for events, like we talked about, joining groups. You can even write articles on there. You can post videos and photos and so many different things that you can do. So who should use LinkedIn? Well, it's a platform for everyone. It's used globally, right? You can look for a job in any country that is on LinkedIn. Like, you'd really be surprised. Sometimes you have to catch that because you don't want to apply to something that is not in your country, but even countries like that offer remote work, right? I've actually worked for foreign companies before, via LinkedIn and Indeed as well. So there's a lot of different opportunities on there, right? So it is a platform from anyone, whether you're an entry-level person all the way up to CEOs use LinkedIn, right? It's there for your professional backgrounds. Small business owners use it, students use it, and of course, a lot of companies use it. You'd be surprised at how many CEOs will respond back to you on LinkedIn. I know people talking to people, politicians, people in entertainment, and they're just engaged back with you. It's not like Instagram or Facebook, sometimes a little bit with Facebook too, but on LinkedIn is still that professional website that people know that if you're going to get on here and you're going to engage with people, it needs to remain professional. Sometimes in those other platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, now Twitter used to be a really professional site, but some of the other sites, which were really designed for social, a lot of people still have that social mindset. And so when they do engage with people, they're a little bit less professional. But on LinkedIn, it's a place where people already know, like, don't even come on here if you're not talking about business. So even when people are engaging with CEOs and DMing them and DMing, HR people and recruiters, they're keeping it professional. That's one thing I'm glad that LinkedIn so far, not to say there aren't some bad actors out there, but for the most part, it has remained a very professional site. So you really can connect with a lot of people. What you may not have know, and this is, just at the time of this writing, so it's probably even more so now, but over 830 million people, around 200 countries worldwide, have LinkedIn accounts, right? What does it do? Well, it does create an economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. Its mission, it says, is to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. And I believe that LinkedIn has done just that. How many people are currently using LinkedIn? How many people have a LinkedIn account? Let's see. Just one. Okay, two. Okay. Oh, a lot of people. Good, 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 good. All right. So hopefully this video, even if you have a LinkedIn account, like I said, this young lady that does this video, she's really, really good. I think she's a professor as well. And she's going to talk about things that I didn't even know with LinkedIn. So I really encourage you to listen to what she has to say. For those of you that don't pay attention, she's going to physically walk you through how to set up an account. So even if you want to open up another link and follow along with her, you can do that. And if you need me to, what I'll probably do, I'll probably post this video. I used to have it in my class, post it in your class so you can refer back to it if you need it. But I want us to watch this video together so she can walk us through LinkedIn. So like I said, if you want to go ahead and maybe open up a different tab so you can follow along, you can. But let's watch this video to see what she has to say. Please do not leave because we have some very important things to talk about after we get done. We still need to talk about your assignments. We still need to talk about next week. We have to talk about the final and your final project. But before we do all of that, let's watch this video on setting up our LinkedIn accounts. Give me 1 second to tee it up. And then I just want somebody to give me another quick thumbs up to make sure you can hear it when I start it. Can you guys see my screen? All right, so let me open it a little bigger and play it.
Are you wondering how to get started on LinkedIn so that you can create a profile that stands out from your competition?
Can you hear it?
Maybe you're wondering what information to include in your profile and what information just isn't relevant. If you're not confident when it comes to using LinkedIn, then tune in because in this video, you'll learn exactly what you need to do to get started on LinkedIn so that you can show your real potential and land higher quality career opportunities. And hey, if you want even more powerful LinkedIn profile tips, make sure you take a look at my free 5-day LinkedIn mini course where you'll learn how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. I'll link the course below. And if we've never met before, I'm Heather Austin from ProfessorAustin.com and the Career Club on Facebook. And on this channel, I teach working professionals just like you how to build their...
You guys still can hear it while I'm on mute, right? Okay, thanks, guys.
Personal brand so that they can land their dream job and grow in a field they love. So if you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Also, don't forget to hit the bell notification so you're notified when I publish a new video or when I go live every week. And hey, real quick, tell me in the comments below this video, what do you struggle with the most when it comes to using LinkedIn? Let's continue the conversation down there. Now, before we jump over to the computer for an easy...
Sorry, guys. Oh, Kayla, your hand was raised. I thought you had a question. Sorry.
Step-by-step tutorial, there's a few things to keep in mind when it comes to using LinkedIn. Think of LinkedIn as your personal sales page. It's one of the only professional social media platforms where you can sell yourself, look for new job opportunities, and network with others in your industry. So if you're someone that's trying to get noticed by hiring officials, grow your personal brand, or even grow your own business, you definitely need a strong LinkedIn profile. Not only that, LinkedIn now has 600 million users, with 2 new users joining the platform every second. LinkedIn is not slowing down anytime soon. Now, this tutorial that I'm gonna walk you through assumes that you already have a LinkedIn account created. If you don't already have an account created, you need to go to linkedin.com to set your account up. And then once you're done with that, come back to this video and I'll walk you step by step how to get started on the platform. So let's jump over to the computer. So here we are looking at my LinkedIn profile, and I'm going to walk you through the steps to help you get started using LinkedIn. Now, step number one is to start with the basics. So what do I mean by starting with the basics? You always want to make sure that you start with your headshot and your LinkedIn headline. Now, when it comes to a really good headshot, you want to make sure that the picture you use has you smiling, has you dressed appropriately for your industry. You also want to make sure that you're looking directly at the camera and that we can see you really well. So you don't want to take a full body shot. My recommendation is to take a headshot that is from the waist or from the elbows up. And also make sure that you're not wearing hats and sunglasses and anything that might be a little bit distracting. Another thing to keep in mind when it comes to a good headshot is to make sure that you're not using selfies. And here's the key. LinkedIn profiles with professional headshots actually get 14 times more views. So if you can, make sure you get a professional headshot in there. Now let's talk about the headline. So when it comes to a really good LinkedIn headline, you want to make sure that it grabs the attention of anyone that might be viewing your profile. Now think of your headline as your tagline. These are keywords and keyword phrases that others might be using on LinkedIn to find you. Now, by default, LinkedIn actually uses the job title of your current or most recent position. So my recommendation is to change that. Now, you'll notice in my example here, I actually am just using my title for my business. Now, I'm not a job seeker, so my headline might be written a little bit differently than yours. If you are a job seeker, you want to make sure that the headline you use is tailored to the position or to the industry that you want to go in. And of course, always making sure you use as many keywords and keyword phrases in there. Now, you do have up to 120 characters to use inside your headline. I'm not necessarily recommending that you use all 120. Just make your headline as long as it needs to be. Now, you also want to make sure you incorporate your specialty. So your specialty will help you get found in searches if others are looking for individuals that might do what you do. So here's an example. Let's say that I was a senior project manager. So one way that I could spice up my headline is by saying senior project manager specializing in implementation and relationship management. Now, step two to getting started on LinkedIn is the About section. So I'm going to scroll down on my profile to show you what my About section looks like. I'm going to go ahead and click on the edit icon to pull up the About section. And I can even click on this toggle to make this section a little bit larger so that you can read it better. Now, when it comes to a really good summary, you want to make sure that you have it organized. You want to intrigue your audience or intrigue your viewer to keep reading more. Now, the About section is such a great way to share your skills, your talents, and your expertise a little bit more in detail. It's also the perfect place to let your personality and character shine. Now, you'll notice inside the About section, there's two main areas. You have your summary and then you have your media. Let's talk first about the summary. The summary section needs to address who you are, who you help, and how you help them. You want to start with a sentence that mentions what you are most passionate about and what drives you most about your career. So if you look at my example, notice I say career and business strategy is my passion. And then I go on to say, I am a driven business owner dedicated to teaching. And then I mention a little bit more in there. After you've mentioned what you are most passionate about and what drives you, you want to then include a paragraph that mentions your greatest accomplishments or even some of your greatest strengths. So you'll notice that I go on to say, my greatest strength is in helping others find solutions and strategies to launch their perfect career. So you can use this exact same format when you write your own summary. Now, to make your summary section easier to read, you want to make sure you're using paragraphs that are no longer than 2 to 3 sentences. And you can use bullet points to break up the content and make it so that the viewer can easily read your information. So you notice in this example, I just have an arrow bullet point that I am using to break up the content. Now, if you want to learn other symbols that you might be able to use inside of LinkedIn, just go to Google and type in symbols for LinkedIn profile, and you'll come up with quite a few options. My recommendation is not to go overboard with the symbols. I've seen a lot of people that try and stuff their headlines and their summary to get attention using symbols and bullet points, and I don't recommend doing that. I like using them, but not in an extreme way. Just use them enough so that it breaks up the content and it keeps your reader easily viewing your profile. After your bullet point section, you can then go ahead and include an expertise section. Now, my summary section is written as a business owner. Yours will be very similar, but at the very end, you always want to make sure you have some sort of specialty or expertise section. Now, this section is keywords and keyword phrases that will show up in a job posting that you can put into your profile so that, again, you can be found in search results. Now, after the summary section, you also have the option to add media. So you can add a link to external documents, photos, sites, videos, and even presentations. Now, inside of my media section, I've just uploaded a handful of videos from my YouTube channel. These are videos that are viewed most often. So I've popped them here into my LinkedIn profile. So you can consider what type of media options do you want to add to your LinkedIn profile. Okay, moving on to the third step to get started on LinkedIn, and that is going to be your experience section. So I'm going to scroll down to the experience section, and you'll notice as I'm scrolling down, I have my dashboard. Now, my dashboard is unique to me, just as your dashboard will be unique to you. And then I also have my activity. So this is going to be, again, unique to you. But I'm going to scroll down to the experience section, and this is where I would start adding all of my experience. So think of your experience section as a better way to tell your career story. The point to the experience section is to really show your audience who you are and how you got to where you are. Remember that LinkedIn is a little bit more informal than your resume. So this is the perfect opportunity to let your personality and your character shine. In fact, inside your LinkedIn profile, you actually can write in first person, which I always recommend you do. However, you don't want to write in first person on your resume. When it comes to the work experience section, I like to use 2 to 3 sentences in a couple paragraphs that explain some of the greatest accomplishments or some of the things that you were most proud of while you were in that position. And a bonus tip here is to include at least one quantifiable accomplishment. So these are things that you can measure based on a number, a data point, a percentage, maybe a dollar amount, or maybe even time. And to break up the content, you can add bullet points to your work experience section. Just make sure that you're not copying and pasting directly from your resume. And remember, you don't want to include too much information here. We just want to give the audience a teaser into some of the greatest things that you've done so that they will reach out to you to learn more about you. And another point when it comes to your experience section is to place keywords and keyword phrases that are showing up in the job posting inside that work experience section. The fourth step to help you get started on LinkedIn is your education section. So I'm going to scroll down past my work experience section all the way to my education section. Now, here's the great thing about your education section is this actually helps you build your career story. If you have been out of high school for more than 5 years and you have an associate's degree or maybe even a bachelor's degree, you don't need to list your high school education on there. Your education section allows you to list the type of degree that you received, the name of the institution that you received your degree from, and it even allows you to list any awards and honors that you received while you were at that institution. Now, this is a great place to add any special training or certifications that you've received that directly relate to your industry. Now, an example of this would be if I went to a trade school or some type of short-term training program. This could be something like a certified nursing assistant. This could even be a commercial driver or a massage therapist. If you really want your education section to shine, you want to add things like your clubs or organizations that you participated in and any relevant coursework that might apply to the position or the industry that you are applying in. The fourth step to help you get started on LinkedIn is your skills and endorsements. So I'm going to scroll down to the skills and endorsement section here on my profile so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, this is a great way also to help you show what your expertise are. Now, LinkedIn
will display the top 3 skills on your home page. So make sure you get those listed first and then add additional skills from there. LinkedIn does allow you to add up to 50 skills, but I don't recommend adding all 50 skills because I feel like that waters down your profile. I would start with the top 3 things that you want to be known for, or that you are an expert in, or that you specialize in, and then build on from that. Hiring officials use the skills section as a way to find talent. So if there is a specific skill set that you want to be recognized for, you need to make sure you add it to your profile. And keep in mind, if you add a new skill, it will take some time to accumulate endorsements for that skill. You only want to focus on the skills that you want to be known for. You want to get as specific as you can when it comes to your skills. So rather than adding the term training, which doesn't really tell me a lot, you could add something like corporate training. Now, these skills are what hiring officials, recruiters, and hiring managers are looking at when they view your profile. And over time, you may need to rearrange the top 3 skills based on what you want to promote about yourself and what you want to receive endorsements for. Now, the 5th step to getting started on LinkedIn is recommendations. So I'm going to scroll down to my recommendations section here, and I'll show you a little bit about that. Recommendations are the perfect way to get recognized for what you do. A recommendation is a statement written by another LinkedIn member to recognize or commend you for things that you've done on the job. So people who view your profile will often read the recommendations that you've received from your connections, and they'll see what others have to say about your work. One thing you can do is to ask for recommendations. So if I click on the ask for recommendations icon, it actually walks me through how to ask for a recommendation. Now, I recommend that you get as many recommendations as you can from individuals that are in leadership positions. So maybe previous supervisors or previous managers. You might even have a colleague that you worked with that thought really highly of you. I would highly recommend getting a recommendation from those types of individuals as well. And don't be shy about asking for recommendations. A lot of people will freely give you one if you just ask for it. And then I have a bonus tip for you to getting started on LinkedIn, and that is to check your security settings. So let's go ahead and review the security settings. You're going to click on the me icon at the top of your LinkedIn page, and then you're going to click on settings and privacy. Now, there's a lot we could dive into inside this section, but I'm only going to cover a few key areas. The first one is the privacy tab. So the privacy tab covers all privacy and security settings related to what others can see about you and how your information can be used. So let's go ahead and check out the edit your public profile. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And one thing I want you to be aware of on this page is how to edit your custom URL. So you notice at the top of the page, it says edit your custom URL. You can go ahead and click on that pencil icon. And if LinkedIn has not yet given you a custom LinkedIn URL, or if you have not yet created your custom LinkedIn URL, this is where you can do it right here. I always recommend using your name, some variation of your name if it's already taken. You could even add a middle initial if you need to. Anything that shows who you are so that your LinkedIn profile isn't a string of letters and numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this. And the other area that I want you to be aware of on this page is the edit visibility. So this allows you to control your profile's appearance for people who are not signed in to LinkedIn. It also goes on to say the limits you set here affect how your profile appears on search engines, profile badges, and permitted services like Outlook. So this is a fantastic way to make sure you are showing certain sections that you want to show and maybe not showing other sections that you don't want to show. So again, go through that and make sure that you have your settings exactly how you would want them. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on the back button because I want to jump back to another section inside of our privacy, and that is your job seeking preferences. So I'm going to click on job seeking preferences, and that takes me to a number of options inside of the LinkedIn page. Now, one of my favorite areas inside this section is the job applications setting. So this this allows you to choose what information LinkedIn saves when you submit a job application. So you can go in there and make sure that your settings are exactly how you want them to be. Another area in here that I really like is the let recruiters know you're open to opportunities. This allows you to share that you're open and appear in recruiters' searches when they enter a keyword or a keyword phrase to find a specific individual in your area or with your expertise.
Now that you know how to get started using LinkedIn, make sure you take a look at the video I made.
All right. Hopefully that was helpful to you guys. If you want me to post it, just let me know. Let me go ahead. You know what I want to do? Does everybody know when I said how to take that URL that she showed you where your name was? Copy that and paste that into the assignment. Is there anyone that needs me to show them how to do that? Just give me a quick thumbs up. I can show you really quick. Okay, so I'm going to let me open up my LinkedIn really quickly. It's coming. Of course. Why's LinkedIn taking so long to come? All right. So let me share my screen and I'll just show you my LinkedIn really quick. All right, so I'm on my LinkedIn page, right? And so all I did was log into LinkedIn, but because I have it open, it just came right up, and it always comes to what your home page is. But in order to get to your actual landing page, you want to click on this over here. This is if you already have an account, right? So I click over here. Now this is my profile page, right? This is where I go in to make my edits. And if you see here, it starts at the top. This is where you can go to put in your photo, then to put in that what I've been talking about, your tagline. You see here, this is my name. And then I put this as my tagline because I do different things. So it's easier just to put it there in that way, but you can totally put like that first sentence of your summary as a tagline. So, and then these are the different sections. You see how they're kind of boxed off, right? So this is the about section. LinkedIn gives some other sections suggested for you. You can ignore that. They give you some analytics. You can ignore that. And then the next section is that about section. Which all I did was take one of my resumes and I just copy and pasted my summary there. And then you can skip over activity and go down to experience here, right? Now, if you'll notice here, most of this, my background is in consulting and finance. So even though I teach, I don't necessarily promote that here, but so this is what that is. So what you want to do is once you click on your landing page, you want to go right up here to your URL, right? So you see here LinkedIn. And if you notice how it says Cynthia Taylor, you guys see that? This is what I want you to copy. So you're just going to right click and copy. Mine's moving slow, but you right click and just copy that and then go to the assignment and then just paste it in there. You just open up the assignment, hit Control P, paste it right in there. So when you go to the assignment, you can just go in there and just put it in there. We understand? All good? So just right click, copy, go to the assignment, right click, paste. Control P and control, so Control C if you want to copy, Control P once you want to paste, right? All right. So now let's get back to finishing up the PowerPoint. So you will be doing your LinkedIn account. Remember, these are the main sections I want you to focus on: your about section, your education, your experience and skills, if you have it. Those are the main sections, right? I also wanted to talk a little bit about your career plan project. Remember, you're doing your short-term goals now, and then you will be finalizing your career plan next Thursday, right? There is a career plan template that you can use. The final report should be a minimum of 350 words. What's going to happen when you do your final? There's going to be a template where you can, if you already have your long-term goal, which you should have by now, you're going to plop those in. You've done your short-term goals, which I'll look at. You're going to plop those in, and then you're just going to write up a quick summary, just putting the two together, in a narrative form on what, and this is really like a career plan outline, to help you see, where you're going, right? And it gives you, and it's really for you, a clear picture of what the next 5 to 10 years will look like as you start your career, right? So I'll talk a little bit more about the career plan project on Monday, but I wanted to put it out there for you now because I wanted to remind you that week 4 opens tomorrow. So that means all of week 4 opens tomorrow on Friday, all the way up till next Thursday. That is to give you guys a whole week for tomorrow. For week 4, your final opens up, your career plan project opens up, everything in week 4 opens up tomorrow. But by that same token, week 1 and week 2 closes, hard stop. You cannot turn anything in from week 1 and week 2. If you owe me something, you have to do it by Sunday, or you cannot. The only thing that you can turn in late in week 4 is anything from week 3. That is it. Please, my friends, do not ask. I hate to tell people no. Y'all know I hate to tell you no, so please don't make me. All right. So I wanted to give you those final thoughts. Here is your participation question for today. I want you to answer, how can a personal social contact, so somebody that you already know, how can that lead to a professional network connection? In other words, how can you convert a social contact into a professional connection? I'll give you an example. The people in your class right now, how could you convert them to a professional connection? You might say, well, we could just link up on and LinkedIn, and I can talk to my uncle for an informational interview to talk about business, so I can promote myself to my cousin, right? How can you convert a social contact to a professional network connection? That is your participation question for today. Do we have any questions? All right, my friends, if we don't have any questions, remember, you do not have class tomorrow. I will see you guys back here on Thursday. Have a great, Monday. Sorry. Back here on Monday. Have a great day. Bye-bye.